Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a moment that broke everything the world knew about markets. An event that wasn't just rare, it was supposed to be completely impossible.
In April of 2020, for the very first time in history, this was the price for a barrel of oil. Yeah, you heard that right, -$37. Sellers weren't just giving their oil away, they were literally paying people almost $40 just to take it off their hands. So how is that even possible? Well, this absolute glitch in reality didn't just happen. It destroyed billion-dollar funds and wiped out fortunes. But in a crazy twist, it also made a small group of friends nearly $700 million richer. To really understand how this happened, this story is best told from the perspective of the very few traders who predicted that the impossible was actually possible. So, forget Wall Street, okay? The key players here were a small group of independent traders operating out of their homes in Essex, England. You had veterans like Paul Commons, the founder, and Chris Rose, but then you also had guys like Elliot Pickering, an amateur trader who still lived with his mom, and Connor Younger, who was just 22 years old at the time. The stage was set in early 2020. As COVID spread across the globe and everything locked down, demand for oil just fell off a cliff. The price collapsed from over $60 a barrel all the way down into the 20s. For most, it was pure chaos. For them, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But the opportunity they spotted wasn't just about the price dropping. Nope, it was way deeper than that. It was a glitch hidden in the mechanics of how oil is traded. And to really get it, we need a quick crash course on futures contracts. Okay, so traders rarely buy physical oil. Instead, they use these things called futures contracts. Think of it like a legal agreement, a bet really, to buy or sell 1,000 barrels of oil on a specific date in the future. Now, when that contract expires on what's called settlement day, traders have two choices. Most people, almost everyone, just sells the contract. You know, they take their profit or their loss and they walk away. But, and this is the entire point, there's that second option. You can be forced to take physical delivery of 1,000 barrels of actual crude oil. And this is where a really simple logistical nightmare created a historic financial glitch. It all comes down to one specific place. Right, so you can't just have thousands of barrels of oil delivered to your house. For this type of oil, West Texas Intermediate, if you're holding a contract when it expires, you are legally required to take the oil and store it at one place and one place only, Cushing, Oklahoma. And here's the thing. By mid-April, with the world shut down and nobody using oil, it was all getting piped to Cushing. And pretty soon, every single barrel's worth of storage space was either completely full or already leased out. There was literally no room left. And that created a catastrophic problem. With nowhere to put the oil, anyone left holding a buy contract was legally obligated to accept a product that was physically impossible to store. The oil became a liability. They would have to pay someone to take it.
So realizing this incredible logistical jam was about to create total chaos, the Vega traders cooked up a daring two-step strategy.
Their plan was pretty simple in theory, but absolutely bonkers in practice. First, all day long, they'd sell futures contracts, betting the price would fall, locking in profits on the way down. But here's the genius part. At the same time, they used special contracts to agree to buy all that oil back at whatever the final price of the day was. They were betting that final price would be catastrophically low. Okay, so on April 20th, the market opens with oil at $18. By noon, it's collapsed to $10. Then, at 2:08 p.m., the unthinkable happens. The price goes negative. And as that 2:30 settlement deadline loomed, the market went into a complete and utter freefall. It was pure panic. And while everyone else was desperately trying to dump their contracts at any price, who do you think was on the other side? In that chaotic final half hour, the Essex traders were the biggest sellers, just calmly executing their plan as the price plunged deeper and deeper into negative territory.
So, how did this all play out? Well, the result was one of the most lopsided outcomes in financial history, a staggering transfer of wealth in just a few hours.
The small group made a combined $660 million. Get this, 22-year-old Connor Younger and the amateur trader Elliot Pickering each cleared over $100 million. And Younger apparently made most of his profit in just 20 minutes. Let's break this down. Vega Capital got paid to sell oil all day. Then, at settlement, they were paid again, $37 and change per barrel, just to buy it all back. On the other side, firms like China's Treasure Fund bought oil, and then had to pay even more for someone to take it away. They lost everything.
And the damage went even further because the system itself just wasn't ready. Major brokerage software couldn't even process a negative number, costing one firm $100 million. Individual traders were completely wiped out, like one guy who lost $9 million, certain that a negative price was just impossible.
And that negative price is what just supercharged their profits. I mean, if oil had dropped to just 1 cent, they would have made a fortune. But because it went to negative $37, their profits were exponentially larger on every single trade. A standard risky trade in this scenario, which might have made a small profit, instead would have generated a staggering $5.3 million.
But look, this wasn't easy money. It was a high-stakes gamble on a systemic failure that almost no one else saw coming, a bet that the so-called impossible was just hours away from happening.
And this whole thing leaves us with a final thought. It proved that a system's plumbing, the boring logistics of storage and delivery, can matter more than all the complex finance built on top. It makes you wonder, what other impossible events are lurking just around the corner?